Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We as a nation went through a long struggle in terms of dealing with child abuse within families, and got to a point where now any incidents are, if reported to healthcare providers or psychologists, now the law requires those individuals to report them to child protection agencies. I am just astonished at the testimony of Ms. Gatos about the fact that an incident which just clearly falls into that category somehow ran into a stone wall with the child protection system. And I guess, Mr. Kuntz, in your research in the law of different states, I mean, is there some statutory framework that excludes education from the scope of child protection agencies, or is this just custom, or is it just an agency that's deferring to other arms of government? I mean, what's the legal explanation for why she ran into that sort of barrier?
I don't know all that, but some states had a requirement that parents would be notified in advance of a seclusion of restraint. Other states are required, there's a requirement to tell parents after it happened. Other states, there's no requirements at all. So it's all over the board. And I don't remember for that particular state what the requirements were.
Well, again, child abuse is child abuse, whether it happens in a home, whether it happens because of in a medical setting. Again, if some healthcare provider was accused of this kind of conduct, I mean, again, a child protection agency would be totally empowered to swoop in and do their job. And it just seems that, this really should not be some child protection agency free zone where complaints can't be fielded and investigated. And I guess, Ms. Gatos, I mean, again, you described the fact that you tried and didn't get anywhere. I mean, was there sort of a plausible or explanation that they gave you?
Well, we were told Child Protective Services just has no jurisdiction over public school teachers, and they refer the complainant either to the administration or to the police. The police came to our house. There were 3 CPS reports about 3 different children involving the same teacher, and 2 police reports. The police reports were actually taken in different cities within the same district. Ours was the second one. They said they would have prosecuted if they'd known about the first one, but they didn't cross-check. As far as I understand about Child Protective Services, they simply had no jurisdiction and no control whatsoever. So,
again, that just takes my breath away because, I mean, a lot of police departments, frankly, are not equipped to handle this type of investigation. They defer to child protection agencies because they have the interdisciplinary teams that know how to interview witnesses and do diagnostic investigation. Again, it just seems like another area we've got to sort of figure this out, that these types of legal barriers should just not exist in terms of giving parents and children a remedy.
I absolutely agree, and the cases that were reported were the tip of the iceberg. And when Mr. Kuntz says he has 33,000 cases, I suspect there are far more because those would be the documented cases. Our district did not do any documentation at all.
So again, you indicated that you then proceeded with private counsel. I mean, was it a personal injury case? Is that the avenue that he followed or she followed?
Yes, it was kind of,
right.
We had a special education lawyer, and it was a very open-ended case. So,
which,
it was a tort case, yes.
Right. So you were pretty much on your own in terms of your own sort of financial resources, having to underwrite that effort.
Yes, and there were many parents before us who would have liked to have filed a lawsuit, but didn't have the resources financially or in terms of time. And as you're fighting the lawsuit, which is very stressful, at the same time we're trying to pick up the pieces and clean up the mess these people have made of our children. Right. And the district suggested nothing and offered us no help with that. So. Again,
Mr. Kuntz, looking at your case studies, again, it just seemed there was tremendous variation in terms of what the response was. I mean, there was one case where someone actually went to prison on a manslaughter conviction.
Actually, 2 people went to prison in that case, the driver of the van and the individual that suffocated the boy.
So at some level, I mean, the criminal courts are brought in the most extreme circumstances, I guess.
And it was not consistent. I mean, you had 10 cases here. I guess there were 4 where the individuals pled or were found guilty, and it included 5 individuals. I mean, in one case, 2 individuals went to prison. But the other convictions were really just probation and community service. And in the other cases, there were no charges filed. So it just and sometimes it seemed the more egregious cases never made it to the criminal side.
Thank
And I
you.
can't explain it.
Again, in our work, I mean, we've just got to achieve a parity level in terms of just how you treat an injured minor child and not create some special categories that exempt it from just the normal processes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kurtz, in your investigation, did you get a